I mean, the tariffs on its own is a whole discussion.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs recently.
I think tariffs are a means to an end.
Tariffs are in the news a lot these days. And there's a lot of conflicting information about this long-established lever of trade enforcement. In this video, we're going to tackle 3 common myths about tariffs. But first, the basics. Tariffs are fees imposed by a government on goods and services imported from other countries. They can be used to defend domestic industries from foreign competition, to exert economic pressure on those other countries, and to generate government revenue. They've been around for a long time. Alexander Hamilton proposed an economic policy in 1791 that included tariffs. In fact, for most of America's history, they made up a major share of that revenue. Since that time, the modern economy has grown very complex. Tariffs are pretty complex too. Myth number 1. Consumers bear the cost of tariffs. If you've watched an argument on cable news about this issue, you've likely heard somebody say tariffs are a tax on the consumer. But it's not that simple. These aren't something you will see on a receipt. Tariffs are instead paid upfront by importers. And then, because many products incorporate a variety of imported items, all with their own tariff rate, foreign producers and American importers often absorb some of the tariff cost to keep their products competitive. They become more efficient, look for alternative sources, source more domestically, and accept lower margins. Across millions of products, this makes it hard to determine how much, if any, of an elevated tariff cost is passed on to the consumer. Case in point, when the U.S. raised steel tariffs in 2018, there was little impact on the prices of the American-made products that make up the bulk of our steel consumption. Products like new motor vehicles and parts, construction and electrical equipment, and household appliances. President Trump strengthened these tariffs, removing lists of exclusions and deals that let volumes of steel imports come in duty-free, but they're unlikely to affect prices again. Myth number 2. Tariffs distort markets and create inefficiencies. Some critics of tariffs argue that instead of trying to protect domestic industries, each country should simply produce what it's best at and trade for the rest. But this assumes no country is putting their finger on the scale. In reality, international trade is not a level playing field. China, which heavily subsidizes its vast manufacturing sector, had a close to $1 trillion goods trade surplus last year. The United States, because of its relatively open markets and even more open capital account, tends to absorb other countries' excess production, making us the world's consumer of first and last resort. And that has been disastrous for American factory workers. Myth number 3. Tariffs don't work. Their efficacy depends on what they're used for. Take, for example, the American steel tariffs raised in 2018. These targeted and relatively narrow tariffs helped an industry besieged by low-cost imports regain market share, onboard workers, make major capital investments, and bounce back from years of losses and bankruptcies. And as we already mentioned, there was little impact on the price of American-made products that use steel. So look at it this way. Tariffs meant to help American factory workers are a success if they stabilize domestic industries, so they can produce what's needed for our national security. They're even better if they boost employment. It's easy to dismiss a policy solution like tariffs if you accept the criticism of economic pundits at face value. Many of these experts and leaders of both political parties promised 2 decades ago that lower trade barriers would result in more jobs in America and more freedom in China. They were wrong back then, just as they're wrong now. Tariffs deserve a chance to work.